What's going on, guys? Snake Eyes here, playing some more Dark Souls 2. And in this video we're going to be doing a weapon showcase, and the weapon we're going to be showcasing today is the Majestic Greatsword. Now if you don't know how to get this weapon, keep in mind that you do need the second DLC, Crown of the Old Iron King, to get it. Once you get the weapon, or once you get the DLC, all you need to do is backtrack from the foyer bonfire, go to a little side area that's in an outside area. It's pretty much a tower that you can only get to by crossing a big chain. Once you cross that tower, you know it's the right one when you get invaded by a red phantom using a lance. All you have to do from there is go all the way to the bottom of that tower, and the weapon is inside an iron lockbox. That's pretty much how you get this weapon. Now we're going to go into the details of it. Since then, I've upgraded mine to +5, so my base damage is at 290. It has a 130 in the counter strength. It does 35 poise damage per hit. It has 60 durability, and it weighs 9 pounds. The requirements for this weapon is that you need 25 strength and dex, and you also need 20 int and faith. And it gets a B scaling in dex and B scaling in strength and a D scaling in dex. For some reason I'm pretty off today, so you're gonna have to bear with me. Now there are a couple of pros and cons to this weapon, and yes, there is a con. I didn't think I was gonna find it, but sure enough I did. The biggest pro for it though is its moveset. Now when you use it on your right hand, it's essentially just a standard greatsword, but when you use it on your offhand, it unlocks the Artorias moveset, which for me was a pretty huge pro. I know a lot of people were really hyped when they saw it's essentially the Abyss Greatsword. When they saw the Abyss Greatsword come back, or the Greatsword of Artorias, or whatever you want to call it, and to have a weapon like this in Dark Souls 2 was actually pretty awesome. At first, I'll be honest, I didn't think it was going to be that practical. I thought it was going to be mainly for show. Essentially, I didn't really have that much hope for it. But when I actually used it on PvP, I realized that the moveset itself is actually pretty practical. Usually when I judge things on practicality as far as the movesets go, I base it into, I guess, how useful it is, how quick it is, if you're able to combo into it. All of those things were actually really good with this weapon. You can combo into it, you can do some pretty decent damage with it, and in certain situations you can actually use it and pretty much be reliable with it. Now that's kind of something that I was actually a little surprised, because at first, like I had said before, thought it was going to be pretty much a gimmicky thing. Seeing it in action, using it, actually made me pretty happy. With that being said, I used it a little too much. I started spamming it a whole lot, but if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have found a con, and that is that the recover time on those moves is really slow. Now that's good if you're fighting against somebody who's using it, and if you see them spamming it, you know you can go in for the punish. But for you guys who are going to be using this weapon, keep in mind to not really spam it. Kind of be smart and know when to use it, because essentially if you miss and the character is close enough, not only does the move itself drain a lot of stamina, but you're going to be recovering pretty slow. Depending on your stamina management, you might be out of stamina by the time you're done with that move, so that's kind of something that you need to pay attention to. I know, like I had said, that I wanted to get kills with those moves. I wanted to kind of play a little blindly with it because the weapon is that much fun. But essentially you do have to watch out, because at the same time it's really easy to kind of get carried away and also to pretty much die and lose the match. So that's kind of something you need to watch out for. I know that when I pick up this weapon and when I reuse it, I need to watch out for that myself. Now there are two drawbacks with this weapon, and they're not necessarily cons, because this is something that you can avoid. It's just something that is really just not a con in my opinion. One of the drawbacks is that when you use weapons on your offhand, it gets a little awkward. I know I've been wanting to use weapons on my offhand for a long time, just to kind of mix things up for myself. And with this weapon, it was almost the perfect opportunity to start doing that, especially since it was going to unlock the Artorias moveset. I didn't realize how much muscle memory was actually going to just take over and really, I don't want to say screw me over, but make things awkward for me. And it's definitely something that if you want to be really good with it, it takes a little bit of persistence, a little bit of dedication, and some time. And it's not really a con, because with enough time and with enough practice, you can actually just overcome it and pretty much use this weapon like any other. For me, I know that if I wasn't doing weapon showcases, this would be one of the weapons that I'd want to master. Sadly though, I have to pretty much switch between weapons, but this is something that I will practice with every now and then. Another drawback is that the scaling kind of fluctuates when you use it on your right hand and your left hand. Now, what I'm going to show you right now is pretty much the weapon's base damage and the scaling that I get when I use it on my left hand and my right hand. As you can see on the left hand, I get a 215 in scaling, and then when I use it on my right hand, I get a 165. That is a in-weapon mechanic. You can go ahead and use the weapon on your left and your right and look at the stats and see for yourself that it does change. It is a drawback, and it also is kind of an incentive to make people want to use it on their left hand. That's kind of something that I thought was pretty cool, but for the most part, if you plan on just using it on your right hand, keep in mind that you are going to lose a little bit in scaling. Not necessarily a con, because to avoid it, all you have to do is use it on your left hand. So that's kind of something that you might want to figure out on your own. For the most part, this is probably the second most viewer requested weapon that I've had so far. The first one was the Ashen Warrior Sword, and a lot of you guys seem pretty happy that I did a showcase on that. This one was probably the second most requested, and in all honesty, I think it's a pretty badass weapon. Now, for the most part, the DLC kind of had some weapons that weren't really the best. This one is definitely unique. It's definitely something that I do plan on using. It's far out there, and it's kind of something that when I see other people use it, and especially when I see other people using it on their offhand, it's something that I know that when I'm gonna fight this person, it's gonna be a pretty fun one, because in all honesty, this weapon is really fun to use. Now, if I were you guys and if you had the spare material, I would invest it in this weapon. It's something that I do plan on using a lot more. I actually want to figure out how I could start making videos using this weapon, kind of like how I did the weapon where I don't even know what I called it. I think I called it like Home Run Souls or something like that, where I just knocked somebody off the bridge. Keep in mind that when I did that video, I know it's a common thing. I know people do it all the time. I just was listening to some music, trying to figure out what I wanted to edit, and that kind of just happened. So that's what I ended up doing, and that's what ended up coming out. I kind of want to do something like that with this weapon, because this weapon is actually really fun. And like I said, if you guys haven't picked it up, you guys haven't upgraded it, I definitely recommend picking it up and trying it out and letting me know how it goes, because I know that when I was using it, when I was recording it, I was having so much fun that, like I said, I was spamming the moves because I just really wanted to land some of those moves. Also, another thing that I kind of forgot is that when you dual wield and power stance this weapon, it also unlocks a third unique move that you can do. Now, the first two are accessible if you only use the one, which is pretty much a one-handed parry, which I think is like a one-handed L2, or I think left trigger for Xbox people, and a two-handed L2 or left trigger. Now, those two are going to unlock a spinning attack and then an overhead. You do get a third one when you power stance 2 Majestic Greatswords, and in all honesty, I'm not even sure if you need to power stance 2 Majestic Greatswords. I would understand that if you did, then you know that's kind of reasonable. I'd understand that, but at the same time, it would kind of suck because you can't use a bonfire aesthetic to respawn this weapon. Essentially, you'd have to complete the game and restart it, go back into the DLC and re-get it just all over again. It would kind of be a pain, but at the same time, like I said, if you do need 2 Majestic Greatswords, it is understanding. But really quickly, I guess I'll show you guys that moveset if you guys want to see it. So here it goes. Other than that, there's really not much else I can say about this weapon. This is pretty much gonna wrap it up. I really do like it. It's one of my favorite weapons in the DLC. I'm actually really hyped because in a couple of more weeks, they're gonna release the third and final DLC for Dark Souls. And in all honesty, I want to see what the weapons are. I hope they do something big. This is an area that I don't think we've ever seen before or have an idea about. At least not me. And I'm really hyped for it. I'm still gonna do the showcases for the rest of the weapons in this DLC, but that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, subscribe if you haven't already. Like I said, guys, pick it up, try it out, and let me know how it goes. But other than that, thank you guys for watching, and until next time, take care.